available to go back in and who thought to do it?
1994 slash
Well, nobody stand up here actually. There was two producers that done one work that we realised they could get hold of the TIFF.
He can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm proud of this. Excuse me. Two producers got hold of it. They asked me if I wanted to work on it, and I said yes. I've read comics since I was a kid. I was definitely going to do it. And then immediately ran out, so that means we go to work.
And what attracted you to this movie?
Alex's script, it just blew me away. He had such a strong vision for the whole film right from the beginning, and just the whole desire to make it real and go back to what the comics were trying to do. That was kind of inspiration.
Karl, to choose a great role where no one gets to see above here. What attracted you to this? Why did you decide to lead with this character?
Well, you know, I'm a long-term fan of Dredd. I read the comics as a teenager, and when I heard that there was a reboot in the works, my initial reaction was, you know, somewhat trepidatious. But I read the script, and the script that Alex wrote was so engaging, so character-driven, and action-packed. It was a page turner. Once you started reading it, you couldn't put it down. And to me, that's always a really good indication. You know, and from there, I just kind of looked at the sum of parts that were involved, and decided from that point that the character and material was being treated with respect and authenticity. As a long-term fan, I felt like this was something that was going to be a worthwhile project, so I wanted to be involved in it.
Pete, this for you and Alex. Can you talk about the choice of DOP for the visuals? Because it's really incredibly striking.
I think we spent, Alex and me and everybody in the team spent a long time at the beginning watching films together, trying to figure out how we would do this. We were looking for a very specific aesthetic that would make it seem real and at the same time beautiful. And Anthony does he writes a really beautiful, kind of read the script and loved it, and we were just blessed to have him. Everything about the film that looks extraordinary is all down to his team. He seems to elevate the whole film to another level. He managed to make it feel real and tough and hard, and yet at the same time extraordinarily beautiful.
And you worked with him before on 28 Days Later, and he's...
Yeah, yes, for 28 days, and he definitely, Anthony gave what could have been a zombie kit, he elevated it in all sorts of ways. He does that helplessly, it's just the way he is. I think on this film, it was actually partly his work on Enterprise that made him feel like a right guy. I mean, he's a wonderful guy, it's just a dream to work with him in all sorts of ways. But particularly the drug, you know, the slow-mo drug, we needed to make that really beautiful, not sort of name-check beautiful, obvious beautiful, but really something transcendent. I can't think about the film without thinking about him, because he did so much. You know, the way the drug works is so important. It's a drug that you should drop acid and watch it again.
We've got samples in the auditorium too, just in case needed.
And Karl, can you talk about the challenges of the action with the mask? I mean, was it
The helmet.
The helmet. I mean, was there a limited range when you had the helmet on?
Yeah, no, that was a huge challenge. You know, the eyes are one of the most important tools that an actor has, and to take that away was a huge challenge. It was daunting. What I realized was that, you know, I had to focus on the other aspects, the other elements that were available to me. You know, the voice, and the physicality of the character, how you do what you do. But the interesting discovery that I made during the process was having faith, just having faith in the script, having faith in the storytelling capabilities of the script, and then further to that, having faith that if you think before, feel emotion, and the audience will too. To me, that was the most interesting discovery in the process.
We've got time for a couple quick questions from the audience. Here.
Because that's my job. It's what they pay me to do. I don't know how to answer that. The biggest challenge? The biggest challenge was, it was probably, I couldn't define it singularly, but it was really the entire picture. It was the 14 weeks that I spent in a gym beforehand. It was the 2 weeks of military training that I undertook to do this role. And then it was the 3.5 months of shooting in a South African summer wearing a leather motorbike suit and body armor and a helmet. You know? But it was worth it. It was worth it. There are some points in your career where you're doing something and you can't believe that they're actually letting you do this. And I felt it on the Born Supremacy when I was allowed to do the reverse 180 in the Mercedes G-Wagon, and I felt it in this film. I felt it in this film where I'm riding through the streets of Cape Town in wearing my full Dredd uniform, riding the Lawmaster, and I thought, let me do this. This is insane. It was just one of those moments.
What else do we have?
Hey, where'd you get that? Because I lost one. That looks just like the one that came from my trailer.
The question was, who's your favorite Dredd artist?
Favorite Dredd artist? Well, look, I have to, obviously Carl Urban, the visual creative artist of Dredd. I just have a huge admiration and respect for. Jock is another huge one. You know, we put a great deal of attention to what all of the artists had contributed to the legacy of Dredd, and you can see that in the film. You can see that even, for example, in the poster, the Dredd poster. Basically, Alex and I were in Cape Town, and we were brainstorming as to conceptually what could we possibly come up with what would be a definitive, appropriate poster, and we had a bunch of resource material, a bunch of comics and stuff, and it was America right in front of us, and there was that panel of Dredd standing there over the American flag saying, what do I stand for? And it was like, justice, and then outlining all this, and it was just, well, that's it. So, it's, it's all there.
All right, anyone else? Anyone up in the balcony?
There's 458 or 459? 459.
And in the back there, yes.
Has the film been screened in South Africa, and if so, how has it been received there?
Not yet, no. Carl's taking it there.
I'm going to take it there, and it's going to be received so good.
And let's see, here, yes, in the middle.
Can I just say that Wire Angle wasn't actually a reference to Blade Runner. It was actually one of the construction guys that just built it. He made a tree, sort of brass wire tree, and it got used in the foreground. And then a whole bunch of them sat around and just made it. It should have been a reference. It was a reference.
But the original monologue They don't advertise for killers in the newspaper. We just got it was too derivative, so we couldn't do it.
Was there any point with the dialogue where you're like, that's too much, he's saying too much? Or did you always keep it reined into the script?
I tried to, and then Karl cut it in half. There were two people. John Wagner, who was the writer who created Dredd, also worked on the film. He trimmed the dialogue a lot. And then Karl did exactly the same. The key about Dredd is he just doesn't talk too much. He doesn't smile, he doesn't kiss girls, and he doesn't talk too much.
Yeah, I arrived in Cape Town, and Alex and I had a script meeting, and I opened my script, and he looked over it, and he saw that I had all these lines drawn through my dialogue. He's like, what have you done? And I was like, look, man, I love this dialogue, but, you know, Dredd says less. And he looked at me and he kind of smiled and said, funny you should say that, because, you know, I showed John Wagner, the creator of Dredd, an early draft of the script. And one of his few notes, he said he loved the script, one of his few notes was, Dredd says less. And the script that I got was the script after you took dialogue out. So we ended up taking more out.
And you.
The sensitive moments in the film, is that down to you, Pete, or down to Alex's writing?
The sensitive moments are in the script, and the playing of the sensitive moments are down to the actors and everybody involved. If this was a very collaborative film right from the beginning, perhaps the most collaborative film I've worked on, and I think we were blessed with a team, an extraordinary team of people in all departments. So kind of took the vision that Alex had and kind of went around with it, because that was what was enjoyable about it.
So let's give a round of applause to the creators. Let's